So today I'm just looking at a no frills version of Honda Insight ZE1 G1 IMA control, and this is using an IMAC&C slave printed circuit board in MCM as is standard, and this accepts a serial communication packet on the H line which runs from the OBD socket at the front of the car to the rear. So to make a no frills version which doesn't require the OBDIIC&C at the front, I've used the simple slider again. This is the 10K slider pot, and I have used a little tiny 12 PIC 12F683 development board which I got from piccircuit.com. The reason I've used this little board is I've got loads of 12683 PICs, so I'm going to write the code for that, but you could use pretty much any 8-pin PIC, but this little board has got the voltage regulator and a few other little ancillary parts on, and it allows me to fit the IMA drive or IMA control part, which is the slider, and the simple packet sending device into an OBD plug. So this will actually fit inside this OBD plug. So all you have is this plug which plugs into your OBD port. You have the slave printed circuit board inside your MCM, and you have the simple slider. Now, I haven't written the code for this yet, but this is the hardware, and the schematic is on this piece of paper which will be on the forum shortly. It's pretty straightforward. The 10K slider pot has a pull-up on the input into the PIC, and it has some resistors in the plus 5 volts on the ground line, so that it can detect out of bounds or disconnected states, so the PIC can detect that. It's got a simple diode LED here which just basically will turn on when the IMAC&C is operating, and in the central position it will be in the off position. So when you turn the car on, if it's not in this position, it will lock itself out, so you can't launch it through the wall with assist, but it will basically be straightforward: assist forward, regen backwards. It has no cognizance of any other aspects of the car's performance, doesn't know anything about the brake or clutch or etc, etc, etc. So if you turn it on legitimately, then you can command full assist at standstill and regen, etc. But it is a very minimal installation. You see the parts on this schematic here. There are few, and I could probably build the next one. I'll build the next one on a little tiny piece of strip board, and again fit it into the little OBD plug which I've been using for years. There's a slot in the back of the OBD plug, and you see the circuit board just goes in there, and then that just provides enough space then for the board to fit inside the little plug. So it's about as simple as it could possibly be. So this is the little daughter board which I've used just for this example, because I've got a few of these kicking around, and I've got loads of 12683 PICs, and it came from piccircuit.com. I think it was only a few dollars, and obviously it also relies on the slave printed circuit board which is installed as part of a normal IMAC&C installation into the MCM, and this just remains dormant in the back until it receives a valid packet over the H line, and then it will engage assist or regen as appropriate. So you don't have to have any of my devices to do the sending the packet part of the process. Anything that can send the correct packet can then control the IMAC&C slave printed circuit board in the back. The protocol is quite straightforward. I'll put that on the forum. It's probably in one of the IMAC&C threads already. So this is the schematic for the tiny board. That's available to download, and it's got quite a few nice useful little inputs and outputs, and everything's brought out, and it's also got a serial programming port here, so I can program it shortly once I've tinkered with the code. The code will be fairly basic. It will just be a simple ADC input from the slider, and it has a direct output to the H line, and it can detect whether the H line is powered or not, so it will know whether the car's on or off, because the H line doesn't remain at 5 volts when the car's off, so it will detect whether the H line's off. Because the device actually will remain powered. I think the OBD port is powered at all times, so it will remain powered. So I've used fairly reasonable value resistors to keep the consumption down, and single PIC on its own is going to be only a few milliamps at most, drawing from the 12 volt supply, so it shouldn't really cause any problems. So that's what I'm looking at the minute. No frills IMAC&C, or no frills IMA manual control, call it what you like. There's obviously lots of options available now. We've got the original MIMA, we've got IMAC&C, we've got lithium ion control and LiControl from John. So yeah, there's lots of stuff that you can do, and there are lots of different ways of making the most out of these big lithium packs and lithium conversions that are floating around now. But I do like the simplicity of the slider. This one hasn't got a button or anything like that. This is not the one that goes via the OBDIIC&C. This is just a simple 10K pot. You could have a rotary version if you wanted. It doesn't have to be a slider version, but I do like the slider, and I like to actually hold it in my hand and just operate it as I'm tiddling along. But obviously you could stick that to anywhere in the car that is suitable for mounting it. So that's it, a little tiny board inside the OBD plug which sends the data packets to the IMAC&C slave, and away you go.